I object.
You got into Harvard Law?
What, like it's hard?
You are the only one with the strength to destroy the power of the light.
I love your daughter, sir. She has so much beauty, so much honesty. Just don't blame me, okay?
I'm not gonna play it.
Tonight, pick up your remote instead of your car keys. Order a pay-per-view movie from Dish on Demand.
You're watching the Discovery Channel.
On now, rescue pilots fly to the edge of danger on Disaster: A View from Above. And next, see why Alaskan crab fishing is the deadliest job in the world.
Get the raft in the river to come downriver. They need to hurry. This person is not going to last very long.
For Tim Corner and Kenny McCura, May 12th, 2000 looked like just another afternoon of fun on the Clackamas River.
It was a spur-of-the-moment deal where my buddy Kenny called me up and said, hey, let's go fishing. I said, well, great, I can get a canoe. It was a nice, pleasant day. It was slightly overcast, mild temperatures. And we went ahead and set in and started paddling upstream.
Located just miles from Portland, Oregon, the Clackamas flows through a steep-walled canyon lined with dense forest and basalt crags. The river is known for great fishing, rafting, and kayaking. It's accessible, clean, and the most scenic river in the area. But it is also the most dangerous. Since 1995, 10 people have drowned there. Captain James Carn and Lieutenants Dan Miller and Ken Horn are water rescue experts for Clackamas Fire District number 1.
Well, the Clackamas River, like a lot of rivers, has a lot of area that can be really hazardous. Along lots of the stretches of the Clackamas River, we have some very dangerous spots with swift-moving water. And underneath that swift-moving water, we have lots of downed trees and some other debris that people could easily get hung up on.
Fed from glaciers in the Cascade Range, the 83-mile river is very cold. In winter, the water dips to near freezing. In spring, it's not much warmer.
The temperature of the water typically around the time of year that we went in the water is around 48 degrees.
As Tim and Kenny continued upstream, the current became much stronger. They were working their way through the rapids and around boulders when suddenly a whitewater section caught the nose of their canoe and tipped it over.
After we went over, I was able to swim toward the bank and bounced off about half a dozen rocks before one caught me in the chest, and I was able to climb onto it. Turned around to hear Kenny gasping for air because the water was so cold. He wasn't prepared for it. So as he's going down, I yelled to him, Kenny, just hold on to the canoe and try to kick for the side. Kenny went around the corner, and then it was just, it was quiet.
As Kenny floated away, he tried to hold on to the canoe, but from the moment he hit the water, his chances of surviving in the frigid river would diminish with every second. While Kenny drifted steadily downstream, Tim began screaming for help. Luck was with him. A registered nurse living nearby heard him and immediately called 911. That call went to Captain James Carn of the Clackamas Fire District Water Rescue Team, 5 miles away.
Well, our initial report is that we had a canoe turned over, and we had at least a couple of people in the water. As we were en route and responding to the incident, a news helicopter was able to get on scene.
We are right over him right now.
I immediately spotted something orange in the water above the town of Estacada. Got on top of it, my photographer put the camera on it, and we saw that it was an overturned canoe.
Warren Petrie reports for KOIN-TV in Portland, Oregon. He also pilots their news helicopter.
25 yards upriver from you right now. He has submerged. You do not see him. The canoe is drifting away from the...
Petrie not only found himself reporting the news, he became the crucial link in a struggle between life or death.
We were flying in the area on the other side of town, just shooting video for another story. We got a pager call that there was a possible river rescue on the Clackamas, and they wanted us to head that way.
Underneath the capsized canoe, Kenny was still holding on. His boots were filling up with water, and like an anchor, they were pulling him under. And now the current was taking Kenny into the most dangerous part of the river.
It's a a very narrow part of the river. The river's probably only about 25 or 30 yards wide in areas, but it's down inside about a 200-foot canyon, rock cliffs on both sides, and then on top of the cliffs, trees. So it's very inaccessible from either side of the river.
Though Warren Petrie flew above the canoe, he still had not seen Kenny under it.
And at that point, I really thought the rescue had already taken place and they had just abandoned the canoe. And suddenly we saw an arm come out from underneath the canoe and start waving at us.
Hovering over the canoe, Warren Petrie was able to contact Captain Karn and the water rescue unit.
They need to come downriver. They're about a quarter-mile too far upriver.
As they raced towards the scene, Petrie helped guide them to the canoe.
East bank, Rick. East bank. They can get to him from the highway. They can get to him from the highway.
Below, Kenny had drifted with the current to a rock outcrop. But now, almost 20 minutes since he had fallen into the water, hypothermia had sapped his body of so much strength that he could hardly move.
We saw him reach out with one hand to grab onto the rocks, and the rocks were very wet and mossy, and as we watched, his grip slipped and he started drifting back out into the river. He disappeared under the canoe, and at that point we thought he had let go and that he had drowned.
The water rescue team was still 5 minutes away from the location.
We were still continuing to get the information from the helicopter pilot, which was helping us as far as the location. The water being flat makes it real quick, and as we arrived at the scene, we were assessing the situation, looking at the boat, not seeing the victim.
Kenny was barely alive. As they approached, rescue swimmer Dan Miller prepared to enter the water.
I kind of yelled to him as I was jumping in, and he was just kind of moaning. He was really pale, very cold, and he just glazed over, staring straight ahead. Wasn't able to cooperate. He was just barely there.
I was fairly certain this was going to have a bad ending. To see the boat finally coming upriver, to be in radio contact with them, and to see them get into the water and very quickly get him into the rescue boat was a huge relief.
When he got to the hospital, his core body temperature was really low, and I believe they said he was right on the borderline as to where people don't make it.
While Kenny's dramatic rescue was taking place downstream, upstream, 2 other rescue swimmers had found Tim Corner perched on his rock. From above, Warren Petrie and his cameraman focused on them.
Okay, I may have somebody else here. I'm going to have Dale bring the camera to the 3 o'clock position and stop. Bank right there, zoom in, center of the picture. Let's take a look and see what we've got going on here. We've got 3 people on the west bank right below the dam, if this is part of this incident.
Within minutes of Kenny's rescue, the water rescue team had taken Tim Corner from the steep banks of the river.
We just don't know. We're going to have the desk call Clackamas County and tell them we've got...
After Kenny was taken out of the water, they proceeded to come back and pick me up. Oh, thank God I'm out of this. I don't have to sleep here. My wife's not going to be mad.
Emotionally, this started out as, okay, another river rescue. We'll get there, just get a little bit of video, and then be on our way home, to absolute disbelief at seeing an arm come out from under the canoe and start waving, to elation at seeing them get him into the rescue boat.
Despite their ordeal, Tim and Kenny are still fishing the Clackamas River. Tim Corner, inspired by the man who saved him, is hoping to become a swift water rescuer himself. And Warren Petrie is still up in the air, helping to save lives. Tilting the main rotors enables the helicopter to lift and move forwards, backwards, and sideways. This and their hovering ability makes them so effective during rescue attempts.
Do you think there's a chance of us flipping that raft over if we get over the top of them?
Yeah, you know what? It might be better if you just throw me in so I can get them in the basket and get quicker.
Okay.
Sometimes helicopters are the only link between life and death.
Meet the man who makes the baddest bikes in the world. Jesse J.